So, thank you guys for coming today. This is our second session with your family, so I really appreciate you coming back. It shows me that you're committed here. And as we get started, I just wanted to take a couple minutes and recap where we left the last time. So the last time we were here, we were discussing Joshua, who is your son and your brother, who is suffering from schizophrenia and symptoms of schizophrenia, right? And he's been in treatment for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Mom, do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Josh was attending college. He was doing really well, very focused on his academics, and he recently, 2 years ago, began with his hallucinations. And as a result of that, had to pull back, and he's no longer in college right now.
That must be hard. I remember you saying that he was going to be a promising student last week.
Yes, he was on task, doing great with all of his academics, and now we just can't explain the situation we find ourselves in at the moment.
So it seems like a loss for your family, for sure. But Mom, you've definitely, you have been more involved with the Kabbalah Center. That's something that you've turned to in this time of need for support, right?
She's done more than turn to the Kabbalah Center. She's brought the Kabbalah Center home. I mean, we celebrated our religion before, but...
And we still do in this household.
Well, she's taken it to the 10th level now. And
since Harold no longer lives with us, he just refuses to...
Well, there's a reason for that, because she brought the Kabbalah Center home. That's why. And now all we do is eat, breathe.
Well, because now we need God the most. We have more issues now with Josh. If Josh is going to get better, Harold needs to change his mentality.
We didn't raise our house like this. We didn't raise our kids like this all the time.
Before we didn't have these issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we have these larger issues, we really need God in our life.
Well, that's not how we agreed to raise our kids.
That's not how you agreed to raise the kids. That's why you just walked out on us.
I walked out. Oh, it's just all me, huh? Okay.
Who doesn't live here anymore?
Who doesn't
Josh
live there?
lives here, Liam lives here, and I live here.
So it's
you decided to move away.
entirely my decision, huh?
Yes, it really was your decision. Okay. God is the only thing that's going to help us out of this misery. And they're just refusing to join me at the Kabbalah Center. But God has always been in our house.
It wasn't around every corner in the house. I didn't have to go to the bathroom and,
He was there before? Okay. God has always been a major part of our family structure.
You can't say that I haven't been a part of the Jewish faith. I mean, I lost most of my family. My parents lost their family in the Holocaust. I mean, my parents are survivors of the Holocaust. So, I mean, you can't say that I haven't been dedicated to my religion or my family.
But you just refuse to bring it home with you.
I mean, we raised the kids a certain way, and now you want to change that.
I want to continue it and enhance it.
Okay. And so, Leah, Judaism has been a part of your life as well until recently, right? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. I used to be highly involved in my Jewish youth group. There was really no reason why the change of the temple. I enjoyed going to my temple. It's just around the corner. I've been going there for years. Yes. My youth group is there. And since my brother has been sick, my mom has just been so invested in this new temple, and it's just causing a lot of problems.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like there's been a lot of change, but your faith has been part of your support in your family, but it also seems like it's been sort of a tragedy for you, Harold, in that your family was part of the Holocaust. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm wondering, as I'm listening to you all speak today, if you all came here because of a referral for Leah's eating disorder. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if maybe all this change has something to do with Leah and her eating disorder and why she's had this issue. And I'm wondering if maybe
tell us.
If maybe this is she's manifested this disorder in an attempt to bring you together.
You're telling me that she's doing this so that we could be together.
Well, I'm not saying that she's doing it intentionally necessarily. I'm saying that maybe subconsciously she's maybe manifested some of these symptoms, because if we think about it, the last 6 months, Harold, you've been out of the home. Mom, you've been more preoccupied with the Kabbalah Center and focusing on Josh and his illness. And here, Leah's not feeling well, and that's brought you together. And I'm just wondering, maybe that's connected in some way.
Leah?
They don't understand me. I'm not doing this on purpose. I just don't think my parents understand the impact that their divorce is having on me and my brother. My brother has been sick for the past 2 years. I'm no longer involved, as I had mentioned, in my youth group at our temple, because my mom has decided to go to a new temple. She's just too involved in the Kabbalah Center and not paying so much attention to me and my brother. My brother also needs attention. My father has been out of the home for the past 6 months since the divorce. He's been too invested taking care of my grandparents. So I just really appreciate it if my parents were just communicate with us and give us more attention.
Okay. So...
And I don't think they're seeing the clear picture that what they're going through has impacted me and my brother.
Okay. So it also sounds, and I'm just throwing some more questions out there that we can explore as we're sort of wrapping up our session today. But it sounds like a lot of this, as Josh's illness sort of manifested and brought change into your family and how he changed, it's also brought change within your family. And I'm just kind of wanting to spend a little bit of time exploring how that's impacted you. How, even though Judaism has been a support for your family, think about how the tragedy has impacted Harold's side of the family and his perspective on the religion. Like, how has that made him maybe grow distant from it? And maybe how has that even impacted Josh and his illness? And I want you guys to really think about that and bring those answers back to our next session so we can really brainstorm and come together with what our thoughts are. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
Let's go back and take a look at how Milan's systemic theory is applied. Milan's systemic theory has 5 stages in implementing the intervention as a whole: pre-session, session, intercession, intervention, and post-session. During the pre-session, team members hypothesize about the problem. During the pre-session, our team came up with a hypothesis connecting the fact that 6 months ago, Leia's eating behavior started occurring at the same time as dad and mom getting divorced and dad moving out. So we hypothesized that maybe Leia's behaviors aren't just a result of what has happened to her, but that she's committing them to bring the family together. We also hypothesized that maybe not only the stressors of student life have possibly affected the onset of Josh's diagnosis, but maybe there has been historical trauma passed down from Harold's family's background in the Holocaust. During the session, questions are asked by the therapist looking to discover the interactional process and nature of the problem, and to come up with an intervention to replace the dirty game, as they sometimes call it, with a new family game. So during this session, the therapist asks her questions, probing the family to confirm or reshape the hypothesis.
And so, Leah, Judaism has been a part of your life as well until recently, right? All right. So it sounds like there's been a lot of change, but your faith has been part of your support in your family, but it also seems like it's been sort of a tragedy for you, Harold, in that your family was part of the Holocaust. Is that right? Mm-hmm.
Then, during the intercession, the therapist presents the hypothesis to the family to reflect and process their thoughts and reactions.
If we think about it, the last 6 months, Harold, you've been out of the home. Mom, you've been more preoccupied with the Kabbalah Center and focusing on Josh and his illness. And here, Leah's not feeling well, and that's brought you together. And I'm just wondering, maybe that's connected in some way.
Leah?
They don't understand me.
How, even though Judaism has been a support for your family, think about how the tragedy has impacted Harold's side of the family and his perspective on the religion. Like, how has that made him maybe grow distant from it? And maybe how has that even impacted Josh and his illness?
This then leads to the intervention stage, where the therapist can suggest a specific intervention for the family to utilize in addressing the behavior.
And I want you guys to really think about that and bring those answers back to our next session so we can really brainstorm and come together with what our thoughts are. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
Finally, in the post-session, the therapist and team can evaluate the intervention and information gathered from the hypothesis to plan for future sessions and interventions, such as maybe suggesting this family could come to a mutual agreement in spite of the divorce to get together once a week in response to Leia's behaviors, possibly being to bring the family together again.